Welcome to Scoop World Order Special Edition. Today, we're going to talk with the Styles brothers about a charity event they're doing very soon. We're going to talk a little bit about how their summer is going and why they believe strongly that you should support the Huckleberry House, which is something that they are going to talk about a little bit. We're going to break down, their transitions to Ohio State, their upcoming season, and why this is something that is very important to them. And as you learn more about this, I think you guys will be very compelled to donate and support them. We will have a link in the bio to their fund. They're going to be sleeping out this weekend at lower.com field to raise support for homelessness among young people. So this is a very important cause to them. So I appreciate you guys tuning into this. Without further ado, as always, if you guys appreciate this show, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. But we're going to get right into it with two of Central Ohio's most talented young men, along with Miss Sonia Thiessen from Huckleberry House. Lorenzo Styles Jr., Sonny Styles, welcome to the Scoop Order. How are you all doing today?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you for having us.
Sir, appreciate you for having us.
All right, and Sonia, also welcome to you. You can say hi too. I know that you can't run as fast or jump as high as these two, but you're just as important on this show, and we appreciate you taking some time.
Well, thank you. Anytime I get to be with Lorenzo and Sunny is a good time for me. So thanks.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into this a little bit. Lorenzo, I'm gonna start with you. Obviously, you're a really compelling case. You're one of the rare kids in the history of college football who's played at both the University of Notre Dame and Ohio State. Obviously, you're a Central Ohio kid. You're making a transition that I think is difficult of a transition as there is in sports, moving to cornerback, which I think is the hardest position to play in football because you can't touch receivers. It's just it's but if you get good at it, it's these guys get paid crazy money. We see what corners are making. We saw what Antoine Winfield Jr., who's a safety, just paid. He's the highest paid DB. But you're making a transition that not many people make. But you also have incredible athleticism. Maybe from people I've talked to, the fastest guy on the team, either you or JB, if there was a coin flip between the two fastest guys. What is your transition been like as you've come to Ohio State? You're carving out a role. You're one of the most explosive players on the team. How's the transition been, and what are you working on this summer to become? What? And again, you're not saying this. I'm saying this. The guy that I want to be our starting punt and kick returner. How's the transition been, and what are you working on this summer to work towards the 2024 season?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm really grateful for the people that I have around me. Being back in Central Ohio, being around my brother and my family. I have a really good support system that helped me with this year because it is tough transitioning from being a starting receiver at Notre Dame to having to earn my role here at Ohio State. But I've been able to get through that because I have a great coach, Coach Tim Wallen. That dude, he teaches me a lot of football and helped me get better every single day. And then my teammates are pushing me to get better. So I know here at Ohio State, if I could compete my hardest every single day and I meet the standard of what Ohio State football is, I have a good chance of excelling long term in the NFL. So I know that's what matters at the end of the day. So I'm just pushing every day, trying to reach that end goal.
Yeah, and you'll test out of the charts when you go to the NFL Combine. That's something that's a given. The transition, obviously, at Ohio State when you have to face Zone Six and guys like Emeka and JJ Smith every day, it's daunting. But a kid like you who's got the confidence and skills of both dad and mom put together, it makes it I'm sure a lot easier on you. Sonny, you're one of the more popular breakout picks this year. You are the biggest safety, I think, in the history of college football, and now you are home at will linebacker or Sam linebacker if we go into three receivers versus, if there's a bigger formation out there, they want to put you out there with CJ at the same time. How has the transition to will linebacker been, and what has James Laurinaitis meant to you as he's become your full-time position coach?
Yeah, I think Coach Laurinaitis, he really instills confidence in his players. You're not out there playing tense. He's not one of those guys that's gonna rip you for every little thing. He's gonna coach you. He's gonna talk to you. He's gonna talk about your thought process, what you're thinking. And obviously, he played a lot of football, so getting all the knowledge I can from him is huge. But the transition's been well. I think the position fits my capabilities well, my athleticism well. So it's been good. I think I had a solid spring. it's good to have some film to look at and correct and kind of like just work on that all summer.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. James was a guy that was a fantastic teammate of mine. We were captains together in '07. I love him to death. I mean, he's a guy that I think has got no ceiling as a coach. He's a guy that I think potentially could be the head coach at Ohio State one day just because of how he's built and how he works and how smart he is. So very exciting about that. And then Sonia, we're going to get a little bit into Huckleberry House, or as we were talking about it for about 40 minutes last night, Huck House, which you call it for short. Um, Talk a little bit about this and how did you meet Lorenzo Styles Jr. and Sonny Styles? Again, I know that this is kind of this was an interesting story because I wanted to get some background before we went last night. But talk to me a little bit about what they are doing, the attention they're bringing to it, and who this charity serves, and how my people from Buckeye Scoop can help.
Yeah, this is such a great opportunity to talk a little bit about Huck House. I think the most important thing that Lorenzo and Sonny are doing with us, I'll say two things that are really important. First, youth homelessness and the trouble that young people are facing today is so invisible. There is no runaway young person or, young person experiencing homelessness who's out there saying, "Hey, I need help. Hey, I just ran away from home," or "I'm homeless." They're really trying to blend in. And so it's an issue in our city that not many people are aware of. But there are 3,000 young people in Columbus who will experience homelessness at some point this year. And so for Lorenzo and Sonny to be bringing attention to the problem is huge. The fact that they're supporting Huckleberry House, not just financially and by getting out there and raising awareness, but by showing up and spending time with the teenagers in our shelter or supporting the young moms in our transitional living program with Mother's Day presents. They aren't just out there doing the public stuff. They're really engaging with the young people, getting to know them, and brightening a lot of days by being around. So we appreciate everything that they're doing for Huck House.
Yeah, and I'm going to swing it back to you, Lorenzo. No, I'll get to you, Sonny, get your thoughts on it. So, I know your parents very well. I've had multiple dinners with them. You have great parents, great mom and dad. Very, very, very sharp. Mom is she is an incredible woman. Um, and I kind of got this from Sony because I was trying to figure out, how did you guys pick this? Because there's a lot of great Central Ohio charities, a lot of great national charities. But I'll let you kind of tell the story, Lorenzo. How did you guys find Huckleberry House? She mentioned that you guys obviously have been able to take advantage of NIL, and your mom wanted you guys to support a charity, and she kind of got a list. And kind of take us through how you guys found Huckleberry House and why you felt compelled to support it.
Yeah, I would say like just having my mom be such a good resource for us and just being in our ear. Sometimes as young dudes, it's hard to recognize like everything going on in the world around you, and recognize your privilege. So we had to really take a step back and recognize our privilege being here at Ohio State, having the opportunities of NIL, two-parent household, many other factors, and just being able to recognize that it's like okay, like we have this opportunity, like we need to help people. So seeing some like looking at the Huckleberry House, it's kids who really are around our age who are experiencing youth homelessness due to numerous factors. So being able to have an impact on, especially that target audience and that group, I feel like really meant a lot just because I could see them and myself. So yeah, it's just a good opportunity really with the Huckleberry House, and I like what they're doing.
And Sonny, is that pretty accurate as to how you found it to support it? Because obviously, you guys don't have to, support the same charity together, but you guys kind of doubled up your efforts to really amplify, your presence at Huckleberry House. Was that why you decided to support Huckleberry House as well?
Yeah, I think we both have similar values, and I think it was just huge. Both our parents, they were both familiar with Huckleberry House. They've been familiar with it since they were young. So my mom originally took us over there, kind of introduced us to it, and we got to learn like everything that they do. We learned a lot of different numbers about the number of kids, how they help the kids, and I think it really hit home knowing that like, because I think when I first got introduced, I had just turned 18, I was like 17. It's like kids who are in similar ages to me going through like the things that they go through every day or like just throughout the year and things like that. I think that's what really hit home, and it felt like a good opportunity to give back. And like Lorenzo said, like we're blessed. You know, we're in a great position. We're at Ohio State. We get to play football, play the game we love, but we're also blessed with a great family and like a great childhood. And not everyone gets that blessing. So I think we were just looking for something to give back, and the Huckleberry House felt like a great opportunity to do that.
Sonny, I'm gonna come back to you. What does it meant like in terms of the visibility? Because obviously there's a lot of corporations that can donate. There's a lot of local entities that can donate. But what does it mean when you have two kids who are, in my opinion, starters at Ohio State? Two kids that are going to be on what I think is the preseason #1 team in the country. When they spend their weekend, and talk a little bit about this weekend at lower.com field, where they're going to spend their time and actually put in the work, and they're going to spend the night and raise money. What does it mean to you? And what does it mean to Huck House at the Styles? And it's not just Lorenzo and Sonny, excuse me. It's also their mother and father, lending their time and their voice. What does it mean to you guys from both a fundraising perspective and also just an exposure perspective?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, I think. I'm sorry, Sonia. I thought you said Sonny or Sonia. I couldn't hear you.
No,
yeah,
go ahead, Sonny. You can go first, and then I'll bring you two in after that.
Okay. So, we obviously we have a fundraising goal this weekend. On the whole, we hope to raise $150,000, and we're 91,000 on the way there. The team Styles set a goal of raising $15,000, and they're almost at $11,000. So their ability to fundraise is really powerful. But we're not just raising funds; we're also raising awareness, as we talked about. It's an invisible cause. Lorenzo and Sonny, and their family, but really Lorenzo and Sonny using their platform and their social media, they have a reach that, when you mention corporations, we have a lot of great corporate partners who are sponsoring the event and fund us throughout the year. But to have two young people who are, again, about the same age as the young people we serve, but living a very different life from the young people we serve, kind of brings a different reality to it for a lot of people. I always share that I think the third goal of the sleepout this weekend is to raise empathy. We know that empathy is what brings people to take action. So Lorenzo and Sonny, sharing the empathy they've found for the young people we serve, I think is really key. If Lorenzo and Sonny are feeling something about the young people at Huck House, chances are the people who follow them and pay attention to what they're doing will catch a little bit of that. So at the sleep out, we'll be sleeping outside, as you said, at lower.com on Friday night. It's a very somber night. We're not trying to recreate homelessness. That's not our goal. We just want people to get uncomfortable for a night. If we take away the bed, we take away the house and all the comforts of home for a night, and you really give you a chance to simply reflect on what those 3,000 young people are experiencing. Our hope is that when you wake up in the morning, you want to continue advocating or volunteering or fundraising or just finding ways to connect and help the young people, that we support at Huck House. And Sonny slept out last year. Lorenzo wasn't back in town yet, but Sonny slept out, and it was we had a downpour last year. He can tell you about that.
Yeah, so I'll throw it to you, Sonny. So what was it like? You do it, obviously Lorenzo Jr. is still transitioning back from Notre Dame. But what was it like experiencing it for a night, and how did it kind of change your perspective and kind of, empower you to want to help even more, I can imagine?
Yeah, I mean, like Sonya said, like they're not trying to replicate it. It's just the empathy part. And I think the biggest thing for me, like when I walked away the next morning, it was really a big reflection time for me. Cause like we did it, but we had tarp down, we had a cover over our head. I had a little sleep bag. I had a pillow. And to think about all the young kids that have to do that by themselves, like we're surrounded by a bunch of people, family. So like to think about the young people that have to experience that by themselves, and we're doing it by choice, not because we have to. So like she said, I think it really helped me reflect and just wanted me to make me figure out different ways I can help give back and help support them.
Yeah, and you probably in the back of your mind knew that, hey, this is just one night, and I'll be back at my apartment, and I've
Yeah.
got my iPhone, and I could pass the time. Like I think that's the thing that's stunning and oh, you know, you got to talk about empathy. Sad is that some of the people that are experiencing, they don't know when it's going to end. You know, you're like, well, we're going to sacrifice this Friday night and we'll be back in our bed Saturday. But yeah, I think it's really powerful they do that. Lorenzo, you know, you're getting ready to experience it for the first time. You know, you've heard the stories. Obviously, your brother did it last year. What do you what kind of perspective do you think you're going to gain over the weekend that'll help you support Huckleberry House even further?
Right now, I just really want to. I've been here. I've been supporting, like doing what we've been doing so far, but I think it's just gonna be a time for reflection, as Sonny and Sonya were saying. I feel like I'm just ready to take it all in, and yeah, I just want to see how it like motivates me to be better, and then just be the change that I want to see, honestly. So I'm just excited for the event overall and trying to take it all in.
That is excellent. Sonia, as we wrap, what are some final things you'd like our people to know about Huck House, and where can they go to donate? Give us your website, spell it out. That'd be excellent to do as we wrap the show.
Great. So yeah, people can go to Huck House, so HUCKHOUSE.org. There's a button about the sleep out, but there's also information about all our programs and how we're serving teenagers in a teen crisis shelter. We have our transitional living program of 113 apartments for homeless youth. We have an outreach team that serves as the coordinated entry for anyone 18 to 24 years old experiencing homelessness, and a really strong counseling program. So there's a lot of information on the website, but most importantly, the sleep out page. And if you click on sleep out, you can search for teams and you'll see team styles, and you can keep up to date on how their fundraising is going.
Excellent. And we'll wrap this on a little bit more of an uplifting note with you guys. You guys are in summer conditioning right now. You guys will blanket. It'll be, you know, training camp check-in August. You know, this is how this time of the year goes, especially when you get a little bit of time off. But real quick, I'm gonna have you guys pick out a guy, because there's a saying that I used to always say to people, that the players know who the players are. You know, there's times where you guys are at practice, man, this guy's balling. And I'll just have you guys, to wrap this thing up, pick one guy who you think is underrated, could break out. You kind of give a guy some love who maybe isn't in the spotlight. I mean, obviously you don't have to pick, you know, JJ Smith or some of the guys. Who's the guy that you think, and I'll start with you, Sonny, could break out? You know, it's just some guy that, you know, maybe people haven't heard of yet, who's killing it in workouts. He's got a great mentality, and could be productive this year. I'll have you guys each pick a guy, and we will wrap the show. Sonny, I'll start with you.
I mean, the guy I'm picking, he's not really an underrated guy, but I don't think he gets enough props as he should, and it would be Cody Simon. I don't think people realize how good of a player he is, and not besides being a player, the kind of person he is and what he is for this team. I think he's going to be a huge leader for this team this year, and I think for us to get where we want to go, he's going to be a huge part of that. I think leading the guys, leading the defense, like a dude you can lean on, consistent, reliable, and he's also a very talented player. And I think sometimes I just see stuff. I don't feel like he gets enough props. You hear a lot of like big name guys and stuff like that. I think he's a guy that's going to be really good for this team. He's going to help this team a lot.
Yeah, I think so. I think Cody's gonna be all Big Ten this year. I mean, he has a
Yeah.
he ran a 4.52 multiple years ago. He had massive shoulder surgeries that kind of held him back. And you know, when you're a linebacker and your shoulders are getting repaired, it's hard to play.
Yeah.
Period. So you know, it hindered him for a couple years. I thought he was really good at down the stretch last year. But
Yeah,
you know,
I
when
did
you've
too.
got Steele and Tommy, you got two older guys, so it's tough to break in. But I think that's a great pick, because that kid, I know he's a freak of nature. He's probably is athletic or more athletic than the two guys he's replacing. So, you know, like with him, you and CJ, like that's as athletic of a trio as there is in the country at linebacker. And then you've got Gabe Powers and some of the guys that are kind of right behind you guys in that top tier. So I'm excited. I think that's a great pick. Lorenzo Jr., I know that you've been around the program, and you know, every day when you go to practice, that's the thing I tell people about Ohio State, man, is like, if you don't have your mind right for practice, you can get that work. 'Cause I had to block Vern Golson and Cam Hayward and Will Smith and literally all first round picks. You know, Cam's probably going to be an NFL Hall of Famer. And you get to go against, you know, the best receiving core in America. Who is your pick for a player? And it doesn't have to be a receiver. It could be a DB. It could be a D tackle. It could be anything. Who is your pick for an underrated Buckeye that people might not know about as much right now that you think could be a big contributor this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna show love to my D-line guys and make it easier for us. I'm gonna go Caden McDonald. I've been seeing this dude put in
Love
a lot
that.
of work, a lot of time in the facility, trying to get his body right, trying to get his mentality right. He was a young dude last year, but I think he's progressing really well, and yeah, he should be able to help the team out this year.
I love that because and a guy like Sonny who has to play in the box now is going to love guys who have gigantic butts in front of him that take up guards and centers and keep him clean so he can go get there, because that's guys like him and Tyleek are just massively hard to move in pains. Guys that are that big and they're still twitched up and can run and make plays. They're
Yeah,
special players.
those are the freakiest ones on the team. I don't think people realize that.
Well, that's the funny thing is I tell people, like, you'll see these guys that weigh like 330 pounds and you don't even know if they're athletic enough to cross like the street. And then you'll put the tape on and you'll watch them like twitched up, moving, in a 5-yard space and snap a guard's neck back. And you'll be like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not that guard because that's embarrassing or whatever. But that's guys like Tyleek. Like, people don't realize how athletic a guy like Tyleek is. But you watch this film and you're just like, oh my God, like it's not fun to go against those guys, because I had to
Yeah.
block those guys, and the guys that are that big and they're twitchy, it's scary. Well, final thoughts. I'm gonna start with you, Lorenzo. Final thoughts as we wrap this show up. Again, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to do everything I can to help drive support to you guys. But final thoughts, Lorenzo. We'll wrap the show up.
I just want to say thank you for allowing us just to come here and talk about the Huckleberry House. I know football is important, and really, like, I know everyone's excited to tap in this year for
Oop, Lorenzo has muted himself. There he is. There's a guy.
Sorry about that. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is an important cause, and I feel like it's just be the change you want to see, something I want to emphasize. So being able to get back to something, especially in the city of Columbus, especially as the Buckeye fan, I think this really means a lot.
Sonny, I'll go to you.
Yeah, similar like Lorenzo said, I appreciate all the support we get for football, but I think right now we really just the biggest thing we want you to take away from this is just like what can you do to help? I talked about it in the interview last year, and I think no donation is too small. Like whether it's $5, whether it's a roll of toilet paper, whatever you have works, and I think they appreciate any support they can get. So whatever you have, whatever you can give, it matters.
Totally agree. And Sonia, I'll let you get the final word in. And again, we appreciate all of your time. Thank you for taking time out with us today.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. For the leader of a human service organization to get to be on Buckeye Scoop is doesn't happen often. So thank you so much for having me, and just so much appreciation for what Lorenzo and Sonny and their family are doing. To be a D1 athlete at the level that they're playing at, and to still find time to support Huckleberry House really means a lot to all of us, and to the young people that they've come and spent time with. So thanks, Kirk, for having me. And, obviously, Lorenzo and Sonny, I'll see you on Friday.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Thank you for being a part of Buckeye Scoop and BuckeyeScoop.com. Again, this was a fantastic episode. Thank you to the Styles family, along with Sonia, talking about a great cause in the Huckleberry House. If you guys can support that, Google it. I will put the link in the bio. You can support the Team Styles Fund for that this Friday. They will be sleeping out. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bar. We appreciate you guys. This is a bonus episode, but it was important for us to talk about a great charity and some of the great things that Ohio State football players are doing with their NIL, with their money, with their exposure. And this is fantastic. And big kudos to Lorenzo and Sonny's parents, who are outstanding people, for raising such fine young men. Again, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Go Bucks.